Welcome to Saddle Up Live, a transformative podcast tailored for women aged 40 and beyond, where courage, God's grace, and a touch of sass are the driving forces behind conquering life's challenges. Join me, Lesa Koski, as I take you on a captivating ride through the multifaceted aspects of womanhood in this vibrant stage of life. We are covering everything from my journey through breast cancer, the intricacies of marriage, and the joys of motherhood, to the exciting adventures of grandparenting. In each episode, we saddle up for candid conversations about God, health, relationships, family dynamics, and the beautiful chaos that comes along the way. But here's the twist. Saddle Up Live goes beyond navigating the highs and lows of life. It's a platform dedicated to sharing what we have learned along the way. I want to help women thrive through it all. Together, we'll uncover actionable strategies for personal and professional development, providing you with the tools and inspiration needed to blaze new trails and seize every opportunity that comes your way. Moreover, we are committed to helping you suffer less and live more fully. Through our discussions on God, health, wellness, and mindfulness, we explore practical techniques for managing stress, cultivating resilience, and embracing a holistic approach to self-care. So whether you're looking for practical advice, heartfelt stories, or simply a supportive community of like-minded women, saddle up and join us on this exhilarating ride. Because at Saddle Up Live, we believe every woman deserves to thrive, flourish, and live her best life, no matter her age or stage. Hello. Welcome to Saddle Up Live. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you might be like, hey, wait a minute. Isn't this that kind of professional lady who does divorce different? And you're right. Here I sit in a trucker hat that says Sisu on it and a flannel shirt in my barn. And the reason I'm doing this episode and video is because I just want to explain how my life has taken a little, detour, not really a detour, just a change, a big change. And I want to explain why. So, yes, this YouTube channel used to be for doing divorce different. So that's why you're going to see videos on that. And there's still lots of amazing information if you are going through divorce on how to do it a better way. And I do believe in that. But interestingly enough, my story changed when I had a breast cancer diagnosis. And I want to share my story with you. And I think what's really kind of fun and interesting is if you've been listening to the podcast, you've heard like 4 episodes where I interviewed my coach about a planner and about productivity and your mindset and all really helpful stuff. And I did that from Arizona. I was there for a month in February. And when I was there, I started thinking about what I was doing in my life. And I thought, I was ready to kind of hand over the divorce mediation business. I was going to keep doing the podcast, and I was ready to launch a new podcast because part of doing divorce different included a saddle up segment where I talked about things that interested me as a woman, as a person. And it was doing so well. That segment was doing so well that I talked to my producer and I'm like, let's just do a new podcast on that. So I was going to be kind of overlooking the divorce business, continuing to do the podcast because I think that brings me joy. It's been so fun to meet so many people, and then adding Saddle Up Live. Well, if you've listened to these in the past, you know that on my way to Arizona, the 2 days before I left for Arizona, I went in and got my mammogram. And I probably was maybe 3 months late in getting it. And I was like, on a whim, just kind of went, you know what? I'm just going to do that before I go. We drove to Arizona because we were going to stay there so long because my baby goes to college there. And we were going to work from Arizona. And I got a call that said, your mammogram has changed. There's something different. We need to get you back in. Oh, scary. And if you know me as a person, I am so controlling about my health and scared, terrified. I'm afraid to get my blood pressure taken. I fast. I do everything to be super healthy because I'm so afraid of health issues, and I just hold on really tight to them. So getting that call late at night when we stopped at our first hotel was really scary. So then I prayed and I said, God, if this is something, that can wait, let me know that from this phone call. And so I called the nurse, and I'm not going to say where this was because it's not really a good story, but I called the nurse and I said, hey, I got this. We're going to Arizona. There's like a Mayo clinic there. Should I go there? Do I need to get right in? And she said, oh, you've never been called back in before. It's no big deal. A lot of women, don't even come back. They get called back all the time. I wouldn't worry about it if we can just make an appointment. So, when you get back. So I set it up for the Monday that we got back, which was March 11th, a day I'll never forget. And went about my business and thinking, oh, it's nothing. And I've got a daughter who's a medical doctor, and you know she is really good about just letting me take the reins, and she's like, okay, feel comfortable if they feel comfortable. So I still thought about it while I was in Arizona, and if you listen to those first 4 episodes, I talk about having a little anxiety about it just because that's who I am. I have anxiety even if there's nothing. So had a great time in Arizona. By the way, all our kids, grandbabies were able to come. It was super duper fun. And I know that my prayers were answered because I know there's a reason um, that I came back and went through what I did. I do believe that because that's one thing that I never really talked about on doing divorce different. I'm a really strong Christian, and this has grown my walk. And I can't talk to you about how I have gone through this without talking about my having Jesus right next to me. So that's gonna come up. Um, so I got back home, went in on that Monday, and I feel like I'd like to send this video to the breast center that I went to because it was an awful, horrifying experience, and I don't know that it could ever be a great experience, but it was so unexpected. I thought I was going in for another mammogram, and I think that that can happen a lot, and so I don't wanna scare you. If you're going back in, most of the time, it's nothing. Know that. Like, there's things that are nothing all the time. So, I went in, I got my mammogram, and I knew that I might need an ultrasound, and the lady who did my mammogram looked at me like scared and she said, oh no, you have a mass. You need an ultrasound and probably a biopsy. And I was like, I got cold. I was shaking. I was scared. I had to run out and like I had the runs in the bathroom and I was all by myself and I was texting friends to pray. And she's like, you got the wrong information. Kind of like you should have gotten back in here. And I'm like, well, you're the ones who told me I didn't have to come back in. Super scary. And then went in for the ultrasound. And I had a gal do the ultrasound. Then she called the lady in, and I'm just shaking on the bed, the radiologist. Um, I didn't know if it was just radiologists, but I've had one since then that's very caring and nice. And this one wasn't mean, but gave me no hopeful information. She said, "Oh yeah, there's something there. It's dense. Never." And she's like, "Here it is. It looked huge. Never told me we blow this way up. This ultrasound shows it as bigger. So just know that, gals, if you're going in, it's not as big as it looks on the ultrasound. And I hope that after I do this and let them know that maybe they could tell women that." Another thing, I learned this days later. Early detection. It was very, very small. 98% good outcome in these instances, no matter what. So go get your mammogram. Had I heard heard that day I was laying shaken on the table, cold and scared, I think I would have felt a little comfort, but I didn't hear that. I just heard mass. I looked, it was huge. She's like, I'm going to biopsy it. She said, I'm intermediate worried about it. I'm not worried about it. But I'm intermediate worried about it. What? Me, like, who's healthy and works out and eats right. I'm like, and I don't have this in my family. I was like, holy crapola. So, I said, I don't handle health issues well. So I came home and I was terrified. And I can't remember if I went to my friend Mindy's. I think I went the next day when I found out. So then the next morning, I got a call and they said it is cancer. And I think the girl on the phone gave me a little more information about it was small, which was such a relief because I thought, holy, I mean, this thing's gone crazy and wild. Um, and they had some pathology information. But I was terrified and I didn't know anything about my treatment. Nobody did because they didn't, although they knew it was cancer, they have to know what's feeding it. And there are three kind of normal things. Two of them are hormones, and one of them is called her. All of them kind of are easy to deal with. They know how to deal with them. Um, the one needs chemo, the other two don't, but the other two need like I think 5 years of hormone suppression, which is really hard too. So, none of them looked looked like a great option. And for sure, I was going into surgery, which I was terrified about. But I was so terrified, and yet um, I kept praying. And I think I was so scared. I don't know. I don't know if I really felt Jesus, but I went and I prayed with two really good friends, their sisters, Mindy and Missy, and we prayed, and I told them a story about months before where I found a medal, oddly, on my floor. And it had like a string around it, and it was no one's. It was none. It was in my daughter's old bedroom. She's the doctor who's married, and I asked all my young daughter's friends. I asked everyone I knew, and it was like something that my grandma, who I adored, my grandma Rose, would have worn, and it said, Jesus, I will trust in you. And so when I was praying with my friends, I told them about that. And they're like, that's beautiful. Um, and that has helped me. It's helped my aunts, it's helped my friends. And I also, one of my good friends, Shannon, gave me an app called the Pulse app. And that has helped me too. Now, none of these things have been, I don't know if I've handled this well. I don't wanna talk about this journey, you guys, but I'm talking about this just in case there's anyone that I can help through this. And me, I didn't wanna look at any YouTubes, I didn't wanna look at Facebook, I didn't wanna look at anything, I didn't want any details, so I don't know, but maybe if you're a family member that has someone going through this, maybe this will help you. But the deal is, and this is what my doctor daughter said, she gave me permission. I didn't know any information, and she was begging me, "Mom, what do you know, like, about it?" And I said, "Nothing. I don't have a report, and I don't wanna know." And I said, "I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this and this and this." And she said, "Mom, it doesn't matter. You handle this how you need to handle this. This is your thing." And it was, boy, she's always been wise, you guys, and I'm so proud. I know she's a great doctor. And so that helped me. So that did help me. And it was probably the first time in my life that I went, what do I need? And it's like if people say things like, oh my gosh, I'm going to start doing YouTube shorts on what not to say to people. Don't talk about people who have died from breast cancer. I mean, and it's so amazing. Like I will say to the person that I love dearly, I don't want to hear about this. I don't want to talk about this. And they keep talking about it. Also, like, here's another thing: when you're laid up after surgery and you got a friend complaining about like doing work around the house, shut up, friend. I don't need to hear that. At least you get to do that. And I actually would say that. Well, at least you get to do that. And funny, people still kind of don't really catch on. It's just so interesting. But then there are things too where I'm like, you kind of can't respond correctly because my best friend saw me in the bra store. We had to go pick out bras for after surgery, and she started bawling, my friend Debbie. And I was like, stop it. I am not going to die, because I did hear some good information after that. And so you get mad because stop it. I'm going to be okay. And then my husband would be like, oh, everything's going to be fine because we got such good information. And then I'd be mad, like, wow, it's still hard. So, I mean, you got to just give us grace because there's so many emotions. And I think that I was trying not to talk about it, trying not to have those emotions, but really work through some things in those beginning days because I have 3 kids. I talked about my doctor daughter. I got my golden boy, Jackie. He is the most amazing enterprise sales rep because he cares about people. I mean, he has always had this heart of gold. He's got a beautiful wife who's a nurse, a little baby, and then another one on the way. And then I've got my baby, Sophia, who's in a freshman in college. And this was hard for her to have to go back to college while I'm going through all this. But I just want to say it was so interesting because I was always the mama bear, and I wanted to make everything perfect, and I wanted them to never be in pain. And suddenly I was like, I let that go. And that was a gift. And my poor son was on the phone with them, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I'm like, I mean, I was talking to him saying, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I have to have a double mastectomy. I don't know if I'm going to like have no nipples. And I'm telling this to my son, who I've always protected. And I'm telling him how scared I am and how real it is. And I mean, I hope he did okay through it, but it really felt good to me. Then I've got my baby girl, Sophia, and I mean, someday I'm gonna tell this story about her adoption story. It's so amazing. But so she's so cute and so good because she's like a realist. And like I'm like, I don't want to go through chemo. And she's like, well, I mean, you gotta, or you're gonna die, you know? And so in a way, I kind of needed that bluntness. And she's so darling. And like she's like putting together this big scrapbook with people putting their well wishes in it. And I'm like, I saw that and I'm like, this looks like a funeral book. I don't want this. And then I feel so bad because she's doing something nice to show me that I have support. So it's just hard. And some people really jump to Facebook groups and support groups. And if that is what you need and that makes you feel good, please do it. It's not what I needed. I don't know why, but it's not. And talking about it, like in this video, I don't want to do this, but I did a podcast last night and the gal said, why don't you want to talk about it? And I said, well, I think it's because I always want to be someone that people aspire to be, which is kind of icky, to be honest. Like, who that's naughty. Like, you don't want to be that. You want to be real and loving. And so I said, I think, no one wants to be this right now. So, I'm doing it though. I'm doing it. I'm talking about it. I'm going to talk through this because the bottom line is we found out what feeds mine, which is really good because sometimes it's hard. There's some that they don't know for sure what's feeding the cancer. But what I want to say, so I have really good news and I'm going to share that with you. But at the same time, if you have different news, I don't want you to lose hope. Like if yours wasn't detected early, or if it's a different kind that they don't know, you cannot believe what they are doing with breast cancer. And people are surviving so much more than they used to, even if it is a trickier one to deal with. So I don't want this to make you feel bad if you didn't have the good information that I got. So I got that information. And then I went in for an MRI, which scared the hell out of me again. And I had to wait almost a week to get the results. And the results said that it had not gone to my lymph nodes and it looked like it was just contained. So that was good news. But still, my surgeon was very I got to talk about my surgeon too, very positive. But she said, we don't really know until we do pathology. So they knew that what was feeding it would need chemo. So I had to face that. But the good news was I met with a couple oncologists and they said that they thought I would really tolerate chemo well with how things were looking because they could do a less aggressive regimen and they thought that I would keep um, my hair like it would thin and not look the same, but they thought that I would keep it. So that all that like you go through these roller coasters of oh yay, and then you go, you don't want, you still don't want to do it. It's still scary. Um, so that was all really good news for me. Um, when I went, I was so scared to go in for the surgery, you guys, and I have an angel of a surgeon. If you are in the Twin Cities area or near, she left corporate medicine. She came from DC, from a breast center there, and she knows how to do things and she cares. And she's a Christian. And I came in and she didn't even work with my insurance, and we still figured it out so I could work with her. She has carried me along this journey and still is. She did a beautiful job on my lumpectomy. She was so careful, did the pathology during it, was so excited after the surgery because she said it just went perfect. Then I went in for my post-op and we jumped up and down and danced because she found out that it had not spread, which here's another thing. I know I'm excited it didn't spread to my lymph nodes, but what I do want you to know, she explained to me, even if it does go to your lymph nodes, you still have that 98% good outcome in those early detection cases because I don't know why, but breast cancer is different that way. So please don't let me scare you if I'm giving you information that's different than yours. But it was contained and it was even smaller than they thought. So thank you, Jesus. Like all prayers answered. I was so happy to be done with the surgery, kind of felt ecstatic. And now as I have to heal up before I go in for chemo. So chemo is going to start on April 29th. I just want to get started. And this time waiting for that has been very difficult for me because I'm scared of it. And here's the deal. Like I said, I don't want to talk about it. I feel like a misfit. I feel like, who am I? Like, and that's, like I said, that's icky. And here's what I'm kind of embarrassed about me. And I'm just going to be real. And it's something that has slapped me in the face. I think that, I mean, sometimes I could even be deceitful about how good things were for me or about myself so that people would hold me in high esteem because I think I equalize that to like love, like being thought highly of as love. And so I think that's why this could be really hard for me to talk about. So what a great lesson for me to learn and a great sin for me to be forgiven of and to realize I don't want to be deceitful. I want to be real. And so I'm going to do my best to do these cute little podcasts through and YouTube videos through chemo. I'm really excited because I'm going to try this workout program that's supposed to help you do really well through it. And I'm going to be honest. And what I want is I want to share this with you so that if you have people you love or you're going through it yourself, I can give you tools that are going to help you through this. That's all I want to do because this is not defining who I am. This is part of my story. And if my story can help you and that this is what it is right now, and this whole podcast is not always going to be about this, but it's part of my story. This YouTube and podcast is going to be about being in your 40s and your 50s and your 60s and beyond. And it's going to talk about building businesses. I built my business when I was 50. And the things that I've learned and I got to do with doing divorce different were amazing and fun. And then having grandbabies and watching your baby go off to college. And I want to talk about the adoption stuff. And I want to talk about a lot of things. So that's what this whole platform is going to be about. It's going to start about talking about cancer, and I'm open for you. you send me a note. I'm here. If you have questions or need support, I want to help you. But that surgeon that I was talking to you about, that's so amazing, that I'll never forget, held my hand in the operating room and was rubbing my arm because I was so terrified. And she was there with me, and she still is. Her name is Dr. Elizabeth O'Leary. She is in St. Louis Park. It's called Lady Slipper Breast Center. And I want to help her in any way that I can, because she just took off on herself, and she will carry you through this. She was sifted through God's hands to me. And that's why, I know I ended up with her. So if you're needing someone, she's amazing and awesome. And still, like, she texts me, and, we talk about things throughout this. I also have an amazing oncologist, that now I'm going to be getting started with the chemo. And because I did a lumpectomy, after chemo, I have to do radiation, which I don't think scares me so much, but I still don't really want to do that either. Right. And, and then I have immune therapy that is just either a shot or a little infusion every 3 weeks for a full year. And then I think I'll be done. And I think the thing that I'm really looking forward to is that last chemo. I only have 12 sessions, and I should be done July 15th. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to doing these and being here for you in a different way, in a new and different way, through this journey we call life, right? We're riding along. I'm still at my barn. I've still got my horses. All that has stayed the same. And I have so many blessings, so many things I'm grateful for. And I'm a person, and I'm real, and I got things I'm a little bit scared of. So I'll take your prayers. If you want to send them my way, I will take them. And if you want me to pray for you, if you have ideas, if you want to jump on this podcast, send me a note, lesakoski.com. You can just, I think if you leave me a note on YouTube, otherwise you can just do lesa.koski@gmail.com and send me a note. And I want to support you the best way that I can. So I'm so thankful that I am here, that I have a bright future, that I have everything sifting through God's hands. And I'm thankful for all of you. And I will be back to share the journey with you more. Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to another empowering episode of Saddle Up Live. As we conclude this exhilarating journey together, don't forget to subscribe, share your thoughts, and become a valued member of our vibrant community. Because, as always, every woman deserves to thrive, flourish, and live her best life. Until the next time, saddle up and keep conquering those trails.